Right, so in this video we're going to talk about the buy-sell dynamic bot. What is it? It's basically a price radar. So when price comes into that area, then we can literally potentially trigger a trade. So as an example, maybe a retest would be a potential. So let's, without further ado, let's show you it in action. Let's get me off the chart. Off the screen. Right, okay, so we're going to get rid of the range detection bot, and if you're interested in that, check out the previous video. And we're going to basically just bring on the those pattern finder signals, which we've hidden before. Right, and we're just going to have a look what we've got. Right, so we have that pattern finder signal. Now, just say for instance you'd missed that trade, which you can quite clearly see. We come back down and retest that zone. Right, that's your signal there. Now, obviously, just say for instance it just bear with us on this because obviously we did take that signal there, but obviously secondary. As an example, we could even add to that trade, right? But we're going to basically add the buy-sell dynamic bot. So let's find it. Buy-sell dynamic, and here we go. This is an extensive bot. This can do all sorts of stuff. You can look at these retests and price zones. You can literally say how many maximum signals you want. So obviously, if it constantly retests a line, you generally tend to find if you're on a key support level after 3 or 4 retests, it does tend to fail. So obviously you can also automatically ask it to check for relevant price action, which obviously is quite useful. You can also say, look, I only want to do this as an example if we've got a certain volatility in the market. So you can say right, I have a minimum price difference. Now on top of this, you've got proximity graphics, which automatically highlight when we're in that zone and become stronger. So it gives you a pre-warning basically. And again, we can also send these to Discord as well. So without further ado, let's actually put a buy-sell dynamic on the charts. Right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say this is a point. So obviously this is a point because it is a point. And basically we can actually say, look, do we want it constant, or do we want it to expire? So do we want it as a gradient? Now, gradient is quite a clever system where basically it will automatically draw a zone on a trend line. So, which I think is pretty damn nifty. In fact, actually what I want to do is I'm going to show you that in action. So just going to remove that for a sec. Let's just go back to this pattern finder, just see if we have a multiple signal in place on this. In fact, let's create a new pattern finder. Let's do a number 3, and let's just look for a particular pattern, so that we can add this to it. So what am I looking for here, right? I'm going to look for 2 pinks, passive buys, right? So we're just going to look for absorption, and I'm going to go for any absorption here. I'm just going to do this on 1 candle, so I don't need any of this other stuff. Right, and I want to look for it at a higher point. Now, what else I want to do? Actually, do I want to put... Let me have a look. Right, yes. Let's just play with this. Right, so we've got nothing in place there. We're going to take that range off. So we don't want the range on. Within the... I'm going to make sure that's off. Right, that's off. That's cool. Right, you can see we've got a signal there. Now what I'm actually going to do is just colour this signal a different colour so I know it's a different colour. I'm going to set that to grey. Right, so we've got a grey colour there. Right, so do we have anything else on this filter? So we just want to see what we've got. Right, so we have got that range. Let's take that off. Right, now you can see now we've taken off the range. We've got multiple signals now. Now, you can see we've got a signal there, we've got a signal there. Now, just for the purposes of this test, we just need a couple of signals. And I really want to see the seller's failing, so I'm just going to test this out. Right, you can see we have a multiple signal there of 2 cell absorptions, and you can see it's going higher, right? And you can see effectively the sellers has failed, and then obviously we can see that that's there. So we actually have a signal here that's multiple, right? So this is going to be TE3. We're applying that, right? And I'm going to add that custom study now, and I'm going to add that in. So we're going to say it's a point. We're going to actually say it's a gradient, right? And we're going to expire it after 30 bars, all right? So if it expires after 30 bars, then it's not going to trigger, right? So let's have a look what we've got, right? So what do we need to fill out here? Right, we have got a lot of potential settings. Right, where is the buy level? There we go. Study for buy level. Right, we're not interested in sell, so we're going to just disable that. Right, and we're going to bring this into here, and we're going to use PF3. Right, and we're going to use now, what have we done? What we are set. I want to just see what range we've got on here. User defined. Whenever you get this problem, go into your scale settings. Right, and let's have 100 on here. Right, so as you can see, it's not bent it there yet. The trend there is wrong, so we're just going to look at how I've done that. I've done it wrong. We'll work it out. There you go. So automatically uses that trend signal and basically bends it. So now you can see it's bent. Now obviously as it is there, because it's parabolic, it's not a lot of use, but what we are actually going to do is show you how that can be of use. So by and I won't be a sec. Price near amount. So obviously if I put 50 here, it's going to widen this up, and you can see there it's automatically put a dot on there. And I'm just going to put it up to 80. So wherever price actions dictates and it's in that zone, then potentially that can work. Now that is obviously how that particular works, that particular radar works. So as you can see there, now you can adjust these angles as well. So obviously that's a point to note, but basically that is in essence how the train radar works. Now obviously what you can then do is on the buy sell dynamic, I just want to show you the proximity stuff. Right, so if we then enable proximity graphics, you can see automatically it then goes bright green and marks it out in that zone. And then what it can do is when it comes into that zone, right, and when this comes back down, and you can see there it comes back down and tests it, you can actually then automatically alert yourself on that. Now that obviously is that's it showing with the trend. Obviously going with the trend. Now, if I was to, as an example, and this is very powerful, if I was to use this as a constant one, and I'm not going to use the multi-signal, I'm just going to use the standard signal and look for a retest. So obviously, rather than using the multi-signal, we're just going to use the standard signal, and we're just going to bring that to about 20. So you can see here, right, it's signaled there, and you can see every time it goes into a zone, right, that basically it then retests it. And obviously you can see there you've got a signal there. So, and you can see this in action. So we've got a point, and you've got it constant, and what you can do is say, for instance, on this, we can say expire after so many bars, right? So depending on where you're at, so we've obviously got it set to 30 bars there, but we can set it to 5 as an example, right? And then it's marked some of them off, and literally, if you look at this, and obviously I'm just going into this, so you've got pattern finder by, you've got the signal. Right, so every time it gets a signal, it then will draw the corresponding zones. So you can see there, you've actually got some good signals there. So it is very, very powerful and very useful. There is so much to it. One video doesn't really suffice on this, but obviously it just shows you how the radar works. Right, you don't necessarily need to use the proximity radar on there. Right, you can actually just draw simple lines, and you can see there constantly draws them. And what you can also do as well on this, you've got trigger mode, you can actually do activate after distance traveled. So you can actually say it has to travel a certain distance, and then basically it will activate. So distance traveled, I don't know, say for instance 20. Then basically you can also do invalidate breach as well. So we want this to be constant. So you see there, basically it's activated after the distance travelled, and then you can see there, so the distance it travels is up, and then activation, and then comes into it. And then obviously what you can do here is basically look at your price action. So are we looking at raising? Are we near price level, right? So you can say it's got to be in a specific area. You can actually curve your levels as well, so pretty much you can say I want to adjust the amounts that it is rather than a manual amount, which obviously for demonstration we've done that. So obviously you can take volatility into account, right? And you can do the comparisons at high or low prices. You can do it at last prices, or you can actually do high low average. So that's another really good feature of it. So you can actually disable on opening range, so you can pretty much say, look, I don't want this to run when we're in the opening range. You can say whether or not you want the levels to be flat. So you can see there's a hell of a lot to this bot, and it's very powerful. You can also look at reactivations and so on and so forth. So you can also do evaluate on bar close as well, and we've also got the debugging as well. So that is the buy-sell dynamic bot in action. Yet another very powerful bot developed by us.